The other one I think is 400, 192 acres. That's the tower. That's the tower. Heathfield House. Roof has gone off it. Dr. Tower means the field of the bleach. When women washed clothes in the Middle Ages, they had no white bleach or parazone or retrazone thick bleach. To clean out the dirt out of their clothes and give their clothes a white clean colour. They washed them and then spread them out on a sunny hillside under the sun and rain to whiten them. They bleached linen and wool and woollen goods this way. Most townlands are named Tour or Turi. In their name, got it from the Sanskrit. Gut means a tilled field. More traffic here than ever there was in 1838. Means a tilled field. In 1769, the townland was called the Tower in the barony list. This spelling gives rise to a tower of some sort here. The Irish word too also means a tower. The land is high enough to have one. The hill rises from 200 feet to 400 feet. O'Donovan figures though that the name came from the bleaching of clothes on the hillside. It is a townland in the far west of the parish of Raffin. In 1838, Oliver Bourke, the SQ, had it. He lived in Heathfield House over there. O'Donovan calls it Heathfield Cottage. A neat building, he says, having a good garden and suitable offices. These would be the stables. Tenants rented most of the townland from them at £1.40 an acre. They grew crops of oats and potatoes. They were all Catholics. Their houses were made of stone. The townland had 191 acres, 3 roads and 22 square patches, and had 26 acres of rough land. In 1856, Sir William Roger Penn, the baronet, had 31 acres, 3 roads and 24 square patches of this townland. Reverend William Bourke was here too. He had a Church Education Society schoolhouse here and paid 15 shillings rent for it a year. James Early was a tenant here, paid £5.12 for his land and 12 shillings for his house. His landlord was the Reverend William Bourke. John Tighe paid £5.12 for his land and 12 shillings for his house. Michael Tighe, the same thing. Michael Early paid £9.2 shillings for land and 18 shillings for his house. Thomas Ford paid the same as Michael Early. Anthony O'Hara paid £6 for his land and 12 shillings for the house. Michael O'Hara paid £3 for his land and 10 shillings for the house. John Lavelle £6.10 for land and £1.5 for the house. John Welsh £3.50 for land and 17 shillings for the house. And John Doherty £3 for land and 17 shillings for the house. And the townland had the same 191 acres, 3 rows and 22 square patches, and tenants paid £110, 3 shillings in rent. The Church Education Society school house was exempt from landing. except for the 15 shillings. Heathfield house over there, the roof garden. I have very little information on this very house. The only information I have comes from a tool that is incomplete, having the book, coat of arms, cat and chain. And the information is that Walter Bourke JP of Heathfield House was born on the 1st of January 1753, and he died on the 29th of April 1827, aged 74 years. Now his wife Barbara Bourke, relict of Walter Bourke of Heathfield, died on the 2nd of October 1820. So it was here in 1753. Now in 1831 the Pews of Blessed Rome wanted a school for children, and one of the supporters that signed the application for it was Oliver Lyric of Heathfield, Protestant. So maybe he was living in Heathfield House. That was in 1831. Now we know Oliver Bourke was here in 1838, and a reference to Maria Bourke of Heathfield, who was married to Charles Garner of Tone Row, had a son in 1797. So she came from here. This was from the Bourke's landed gentry. So there were Bourkes here down the ages from 1753 at least until 1838, maybe longer. There was a Reverend William in Blackton also. And he died in 1881. Maybe he was living here, I don't know. The estate of Summerhill originally belonged to a branch of the Bourkes of Heathfield, but they left it after a tragic accident when the heir was killed by his younger brother. They were playing together as children with an old gun, which unknown to them was loaded, and it suddenly went off in the hands of the younger one, killing the other one instantly. The younger brother afterwards became Captain B. Bourke of Heathfield and was called out to the front in 1915. That was the First World War. He was killed by an explosion a few days after his arrival. This information I got from the Knox's Private History of Palmerstown. According to the Census of Ireland 1901, Bridget Tye was here, 5 in the house. Martin Neeran was here, he was also a contractor. He had 14 in the house. Bridget O'Hara or O'Hara, 2 in the house. Martin Cochran, 1. Pat Farrell, 4. Pat Ford, 8. Andrew Early, 6. And James Bennett had 3. And he must have rendered from a H. Bourke, whoever he would be. Maybe he was Hinder. And then we had 3 others. Mary Foley, servant, Roman Catholic, 45 years old, domestic servant from County Wexford. We had also Margaret Hart, Roman Catholic, could read and write, 35 years old, domestic servant from County Sligo. And Helen Lomax, Roman Catholic, could read and write, 25 years old, a domestic servant from County Carlow. So they were probably over in the Bourke house. I'm not sure that they were there, I'm just thinking it. Who else could afford to hire servants in 1901? New name is Mícheál Bourke. Is it Mícheál or Michael they call you?
Mícheál.
Mícheál. New name is Mícheál Bourke. Is it Mícheál or Michael they call you?
Mícheál.
Mícheál, yeah. So you live here beside you live here beside Heathfield House,
Yes.
and you have some research done into the Bourke family, and that lived in Heathfield. So you think the first man that was here was Walter, is it? Oliver?
Oliver.
And that you have a year down for it, haven't you?
17. Well, he married Elizabeth Rutledge of Oxford in 1750.
So he'd be here around then.
Yeah.
And there's a document here that says he was here 1746, isn't there? There's this big document here. Then I have a reference here to a Walter Bourke, who was a JP of Heathfield. He was born on the 1st of January 1753, and he was married to some Gildea woman.
That would have been Oliver's son.
He would, yeah. And he died on the 29th of April 1827, aged 74 years.
Well, 1819 for that, but...
Is it? Yeah, that doesn't matter. Well, this came from the tombstone down in Heathfield.
Oh, that's fair enough. That's more accurate.
Yeah. And in 1838 then, Oliver Bourke was down here as on got the tour and living in Heathfield House. You have nobody in between 18... Did I say that when he died? He died in 1827 and 1838. You haven't. Oliver was a son anyhow, wasn't he? He was probably alive here and at the time and continued after him.
The first Oliver there, the original Oliver, he had a son called Oliver too.
What year would that be now?
Well, that man was born around 1754.
Yeah. No, this wouldn't be him.
That wouldn't be him now.
No. So, after 1838...
1838 you have done for what?
For Oliver. Oliver. I have nothing again then until 1856. And
I'd say it was less, you know.
yeah. Because in 1856, Oliver Bourke doesn't seem to be here at all. There seems to be a lot of tenants here, and the Reverend William had just only a small Sunday education school house here.
Just see where he comes in, Reverend William. What year was he?
And down about around 1856, after 1838. Who was the next son after 1838? Have you anything down there?
1838. No, the next son, as I say, we started off with Oliver. Then the next man I have down is Walter, Captain Walter Bourke, JP.
Yeah.
And he was supposed to have died in 1819.
Yeah.
The next man I have down is Captain Walter J. Bourke.
What year would that be?
Well, as I say, he died in 1848, age 56.
Oh yeah.
So that would make him 1848, take 56 from that.
Yeah.
It'd be 90 something, you know.
Yeah. Yeah. So he was here in, what year did you say, 1850?
Well, I don't know if he was here.
1848.
He wasn't here, I don't think, because
Oh yeah.
he had Heathfield estate surveyed in 1844.
Oh, it is, yeah. Yeah.
And I did come across some note that his castle was taken from by Cromwell.
Yeah.
And Cromwell in turn gave him Killala Castle.
Oh yeah, yeah. Nothing about Heathfield House here?
No.
No.
Except to the extent that he had Heathfield estate surveyed, 1844. Now, he would have been 12 years in Killala at that stage when he died, in 1848.
Yeah.
So he would have come to Killala in 1836.
Yeah, well of course Killala Castle, is that what you're talking about there?
Yeah.
It was turned into the workhouse, you know.
That's right.
Yeah.
And in fact, he was the man that sheltered the Catholic Archbishop of Killala, which was that Walter J. Bourke.
Oh, yeah.
You know, he
During the 1798.
during 1798, and he looked after him all the time, and everything.
Yeah.
He was exceptional.
Right. Well, now, In 1856, one thing puzzles me here that Palmer, Roger Palmer,
That's right, this Palmer is next man.
had a lot of the townland, you know, and he had 31 acres of it. And I wonder, was the house vacant at the time? It must have been.
Well, I'll tell you who could tell you about Palmer now. Good 30 years since Mícheál Bourke.
Yeah. Now, Reverend William Bourke had a church education society school here and paid 15 shillings rent for this. But then all the other tenants that were here paid Reverend William Bourke the rent, not to Palmer. So what the hell was going on? Was Palmer living in the cottage here? Or was there a Palmer living here?
Well, I have Reverend Palmer, or the Reverend William Bourke down as a son of Palmer Bourke.
Yeah.
Now I don't know if that's correct.
Not living here. You don't know where they were living.
I don't know. But,
Yeah.
Palmer Bourke was down for Heathfield.
Is he?
Yeah.
What year would that be?
He was born in 1764. He died in 1849.
No, that's not the man.
That's not the man.
No.
This man married Hannah Kirkwood.
Yeah, yeah. No, that's not the man. No.
No.
This fella would be here 1856. So there was
Oh,
some...
that'll be much later,
Oh,
1856.
yeah. Major William Henry Bourke, JP. He would be down around 1856.
He was born 9th of the 4th, 1851.
Any reference to him living here in Heathfield or having it?
No, let's say he married the 12th of the 6th, 1877 to Sarah Young. It's all like that. But now, if you go to Mary Bourke, she'll be able to throw light on that.
He married what year was he born?
He was born in 1851.
Oh, yeah. That Reverend William, there was a Reverend William, a clergyman in Lacken who died 1881. So the next one, the next box that were here were the box that were in Summerhill, as far as I can figure out. And that Captain Bertram, left in 1915 to go to the First World War and got killed there.
Yeah.
What year was he born and have you down there?
He was born the 19th of the 12th, 1882.
Yes, any other thing about him?
Well, he was killed in action the 9th.
No father or mother or anything?
No, he married Eileen Usher, 1913.
Yeah. And then he went out and got killed in the war. He was the fellow that accidentally killed his brother down in Summerhill. Yes. And I think that preyed on him.
Eileen Usher subsequently married Captain Newsom.
Yeah. Any year down for that, when they came here?
No, but I'll tell you, they killed Mary Bourke as
they came here, they lived here for a while, didn't they?
They did, they were living here.
They lived after, was it after 1918?
Well,
the year of their marriage wasn't down there, no?
He was born in 82, and I took it that he lived here until such time as he went to war,
Oh, he did, yeah.
Killed in action, 1950.
Yeah.
Now, he was living up till then.
Yeah, but Captain Newsom then, did he...
Captain Newsom then came on the scene and married the widow.
Yeah, no year down for that marriage, no?
But I'm sure Mary Bourke would have that for you.
Yeah. So it was sometime around after 1918, I suppose. Or,
yes, within a few years, yeah.
And then they left again around the 1920s.
Well, the trouble started.
And the trouble started. As you say, they were escorted out of the town and by IRA-men, right?
And the leader of that IRA-man was a chap called Foy.
He wasn't local, was he?
He was.
Was he?
He was up there, are you familiar with the Glyn area?
Well, I know what the Glyn is.
Yeah, he was living up there near Timlins.
Yeah. Oh, his first name isn't down, no?
I got his first name, but my memory is not great now.
The family isn't there now or anything, no?
Well, his niece, or his offspring, I think she must be a niece of his, was in the States. She was a student there. She was called here one day that summer.
What would her name be?
I don't know what her first name was.
Yeah. What was her surname? Was it Foy? She wasn't married?
She just told me that her grandfather was escorted the
yeah.
people out of Heathfield house. I've heard tales since then.
Oh, yeah, they were proud of that.
It wasn't exactly a gentle
Ah, yeah, a gentleman's...
persuasion.
yeah. In the 1901 census, it bears out Knox's history that Captain Bertram Bourke and his father, they weren't living here, they were over in Summerhill, because the name isn't down here in for Gurta Tour, but there's a name James Bennett down here.
Bennett, that's the man I was talking about.
James Bennett.
B-N?
B-E-N-N-E-T.
B-N-N-E-T.
And it was, the name of the landholder was H. Bourke.
H. Bourke.
That was that Henry Walter you were talking about, was it?
It could be, yeah.
Yeah. He still owned it, although he hadn't his name down for it.
William Henry.
William Henry, was it?
Or
yeah.
J.P.
Yeah, that must be the fella.
Yeah.
That must be the fella.
What year was that, Bennett?
That was 1901. 1901.
Well, no, you were Bennett, or
Had service because I see Mary Foley from County Wexford, domestic servant, living here at the time. Margaret Hart from County Sligo, domestic servant, and Ellen Lomax from County Carlow, domestic servant. And who could afford to have them there but somebody that was living in Heathfield House, and it must be Bennett that had them there. Yeah. And the whole thing was leased from, I'd say, that William Henry Bourke, wouldn't it be? That must be it.
And he was in Castlegar in Lacken.
I don't know where he was.
Somewhere he said to us.
Yeah.
Not his father.
We're talking there about a man that joined the British Army in the First World War, 1914-18.
Yeah.
That was Martin Needle.
Martin Needle.
Martin Needle. He lived over here in Gurta Tour, didn't he?
He did.
And you remember seeing him?
I do indeed.
A tall man or a small man?
He was, as far as I recall now, so many years ago, he was a medium size.
A medium size man.
Small.
Most dangerous. Yeah. He joined, so he'd be getting a pension, would he?
He would.
Yeah. If you were conscripted, you know, you'd get no pension. Yeah. That's the way it worked in those days. I came across men down in Castletown that were conscripted coming home on the boat and have to fight through the war and kicked out, no pension, nothing. Oh, yeah. You know, that's what they did with them. But if you joined up, you get whatever benefits, isn't it, that they were great or go. So he lived on his days here and died over in Gurta.
He lived with his brother John Moore.
Yeah.
And he had a sister there too. I think Mary was her name.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, yes.
Martin was a very precise man.
He was.
He did certain things, like his job was not to be home to talk.
Oh, right. Well, he'd be used to regulation in the army.
I think, as far as I know too, he did the cooking in the house and the meals and things like that.
Yeah, he'd be used to regulation in the army.
Yes,
it never gets out of your system, like, you know, it's there all the time. The gatehouse, and according to the maps we're looking at there now, it was built sometime after 1838. It wasn't on the 1838 map at all, either of the two gatehouses here.
Yeah.
And they'd be to facilitate...
That's 1838.
Yeah, that'd be to facilitate opening gates for the gentry coming in and out of,
of
the house over there. In other words, the Burkes. And...
well, the truck, when they were bringing it home, it was from Bullock.
Yeah.
And it used to go down by the other gatehouse.
Yes. So this was the main entrance here?
This was the main entrance.
Ah, yes.
Usually reserved for the carriages.
Oh, yeah, for the dignitaries.
Yeah.
All the service went through the other entrance.
That's right.
Oh, yeah, that was... this was a small house first, and I believe James A. Mulley was the man that was in it before you, wasn't
right,
he? Yeah. And then your father and mother got in here, both teachers, weren't they?
They were both teachers.
Mick Bourke.
Yeah.
Yeah. And he was teaching in Ballycastle School, wasn't he?
Yeah, Ballycastle Boys School, which was up to Glen Road, just to Glen Road. Yeah.
And she was teaching where?
Well, she started off, I think, when she got married first, she was still teaching in Banagher.
Oh, yeah.
And then, when the school in Ballycastle, at the start it was girls and boys school. Yeah. And then they decided to build a girls' school in the town itself.
Right.
And at that stage, the Glen School became an all-boys school. And then I think my mother went into it.
Right.
As the second teacher.
Into the Glen School.
In the Glen School.
Yeah. She was Munley herself, Johnny Munley's daughter. Yeah, Marion Munley. Yeah. And she did the full round, I think, 45 years, did she? She give out?
Oh, she did.
And so did Mick, didn't he?
He did.
He was principal back there, wasn't he?
He was principal.
Yeah. What year did he die, roughly?
61.
1961. I remember meeting him one time down at Lacken Church. He wore a hat, didn't he?
He did.
And he's buried back in Ballycastle Cemetery, you see.
No, he's married in, or he's buried in Rathran.
Is he then?
He is.
Oh, that was his relative. Where did he come from originally?
He came from Ballyglen.
Oh, back there. Yeah. John James would be his brother, and
That's right.
and Barney.
And Barney was another brother.
Yeah. Right, I remember John James. I don't remember the other man. And then the oldest of your family was
Dimpner.
Dimpner.
Yeah.
She became a teacher, did she?
Yeah, she was teaching in Dublin all her life.
In Dublin all her life. Yeah. And you don't know the name of the school, I remember?
She was in a few schools. She was in Baldoyle for quite a while. And then she taught in Dunlecarney for a while.
Oh, yeah.
You know, and earlier on she had been out in Dunleary.
Yeah.
School there.
Which one did she finish up on? Dunlecarney, is it?
She ended up in Dunlecarney.
Yeah.
Oh no, I'm sorry, she ended up in Baldoyle.
Baldoyle. She was married to some man, who was he?
Sean Hickey.
Sean Hickey. Oh, I remember that man.
Another teacher.
Another teacher. Second in was Sean, was it?
Sean was his next.
Yeah, this is the man here.
Yeah.
I remember here you have a whole dossier on him.
Yeah, he taught down in Caramore.
He did for years. He taught me too, and definitely, and that we got scholarships away under his tuition and got to where.
He got a good name teaching down there.
Oh, he did. I tell you, it wasn't alone there, but Dennis Gallagher told me he was minister for the Gaeltacht and was a teacher himself one time. I used to meet him. He used to be over in our house often there in Talbot Moor, but he told me that he was a very bright man, that always at house examinations and whatever, first place, and he didn't work, he says, all the time. Head of the class, he says, and he, without trying, he says, you know, he was very brainy. And when he left Caramore, he became an inspector and all that kind of thing. And not alone that, but they took him out of that job, I think, and brought him up to devise a new scheme for Irish in the national schools.
That's right.
Yeah.
There's an appreciation there. I think you might have had that already.
I have, yes.
You have that?
I have indeed. I have indeed. I have all the dossier on him.
Yeah.
Oh, a brilliant man that came from here. And he died up in Shandiana, where he lived, number 8, I think, Shandiana, wasn't it?
Well, it was in there in Shandiana.
That's right. And he was married to a woman called Cahill, wasn't it?
That's
Mary
right.
Cahill.
Bernie
Cahill. From the Midlands.
Another teacher,
She was, I met her, And he owned a house down in Kilcummin, that's how it got onto him. And he was born over in, he wasn't born here now, he was born over in Flaherty's over there.
That's right, in Willows.
That's right.
Yeah.
Dimpner must be born over there too.
That's right. And I think there were a few of them born
there was,
yeah. I think up to Teresa's time.
Is that so?
Yeah.
You were born here, were you?
I was born here.
Old Mrs. George Munley, she'd be the mother-in-law now, told me about taking care of you guys when you were young. Over in that house over there, yeah. I had that in a video. I went over and videoed the old house over there.
In Flaherty's?
Yeah.
Where is that house, by the way? I never knew where it was.
You go down the road, Carrickcullen, and there's a dip in the road there, and the road go down to Billows, you know, to the left.
Yeah, when you say it's a dip down on the main road, is it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and there's a little hill rising up onto that, and just on the little hill as you go down the hill, there's a house over on your left there.
Have you come to Massey's?
No, you have not. No, you're only about 50 yards down from the crossroads. And to the left in there, there's an old gateway and a cartway. And I think they have another gate back on the right hand side there now.
Yeah.
And you went in down there and that house is there. I have the video of it. Yeah. The day I was doing our last school, the camera was waving.
Yeah. Well, Sean, just a minute now. We're going over the road.
Anyway, we stopped at Sean. Who was the next that was born after
Finnan.
Finnan.
Just a moment now, so there's a girl in between. Let's see now. Chat here. I think Paddy was next. Patricia.
And she also became a teacher, didn't she?
She was.
Where did they go to school? Ballycastle, and then where did they go from there?
They went to
Kilshamar. And from there into...
She would have got a scholarship.
Oh, indeed, most of them did.
Most of them did at that age.
Yeah, and then they went to Carysfort. Out in Blackrock, County Dublin.
And in fact, that's where she lived.
Was it?
Yeah, out in Blackrock Avenue there.
Yeah. Where did she teach then, do you remember?
She taught in Kilmacud, would that be it?
Yes.
Yeah.
Any other place?
She taught in, well, she spent a while down here, over in Belmullet.
Did she?
Yeah, she taught in Belmullet.
Before she went up to Dublin?
Yeah.
And she got married to?
She married a Cherry man again, another
Teacher. I think I saw him. What was his name?
Michael Fenton.
No, I didn't see him now.
He ended up he was a professor a lecturer in the university.
Dublin University. UCD, yeah.
He was good at Irish, very good at Irish.
Ah, yeah. She's alive all the time, is she?
No, she died.
She died.
She died very young.
What age? What year?
She died in harness before she retired.
Oh, yeah.
She died, but she's been about, I should have it here. Teresa Pratt. She died in 1987.
87,
yeah. Age 61.
Age 61, yeah. After her then who came?
Finan was next.
Yeah. Did he win the scholarship too?
Yes, they all got scholarships.
Into St.
They
Linda's.
had to get it.
No, I know.
You were told.
Things were hard. Things were hard. Big family. You know, teachers weren't well paid in those days.
Yeah.
And he got into St. Linda's Galway, didn't he?
He did.
And St. Pat's after that.
That's right.
And then he was teaching.
Did you go the same road yourself?
He did, yeah, I did. Yeah. I had to win the scholarship too.
Yeah.
Yes, there was no money around.
No.
So he taught out in Brake Street, did he, first?
Yeah, he did. He was up there for a while.
And in Cooneil?
Cooneil he was in, yeah.
First, was it?
Cooneil first.
And then Brake Street?
I'm not sure now. I don't remember him in Brake Street.
I think he had a bad accident with a car when he was out there.
I thought that it was Cooneil.
No, maybe. I don't know.
I thought it was.
Was he in Brake Street at all or anything?
I don't think he was in Brake Street.
Yes, I thought he was. And then he got principal of Crossmolina.
That's right.
And he didn't live too long after he
retired.
retired.
He was in Carramore for a while.
Oh, geez, he did indeed. After Cooneil,
he could Carramore.
He was done.
He went to Carramore when Sean left.
He did?
Yeah.
That'd be about the 1953 or 54.
Yeah.
And
then he went eventually got married. He married a Crossmolina woman.
That's right. That's right.
She
One of
lived
the
there.
business people, what do you call them then?
That's cool, yeah.
Mourns, yeah.
Mourne.
Yeah. And finished up there. And he didn't live too long after his retirement, 2 or 3 years?
He lived quite a while afterwards. He died at age 66.
66 he was?
Yeah.
So he'll have retired when he was 65?
He died in 1993.
Did he die in 1993?
Yeah. He retired early. He retired about around 60 years.
Did he?
A lot of trouble with his hip.
Ah, right.
And
right.
he's got an operation there. And
right. He used to play football too.
He did.
And
That's what he got
organised
hurt.
things and all.
Wet.
Yeah, I know. Yeah. Who came after him then?
Teresa.
Yeah.
Teresa joined the civil service.
All right. Dublin.
Yeah.
And
she married a man called Harry Marsh. They have a house down there in Kilconnell.
They have, I know. I saw him too.
Yeah.
Yeah. They come often now. Where's she living now? Dublin?
She's in Dublin.
Has she retired now?
Sure, she has.
Many years?
Quite a few years.
Yeah.
She got retired. I think she had to retire when she got married.
Oh, because that time back. Yeah. Who came after that then?
Cotchley, another girl. Cotchley is next.
Yes.
And she's married to a chap called Des Hawkshaw.
I met him too. Yeah.
Des from Westport.
Is that what it's from?
Yeah.
Did she become a teacher too?
No, she was civil service.
Civil service.
Yeah.
And she, I suppose, worked in
Teresa
Dublin?
herself went to Kiltramal.
Yeah. And she's retired now for some years.
She is.
Yeah. Living in Dublin, is it?
Well, she taught even after retiring. She went back again.
Yeah.
Yeah, she's living in Dublin too.
Yeah. They owned a house in
They did and sold it.
Sold it again, yeah. They didn't like the area down there. It was too dull for Hawkshaw, I think it was. Yeah. Who came after Cotchley then?
You was truly myself.
Oh, yourself, yeah. You went the same road too. Did you go to Indus?
No, I didn't.
College in Ballina?
I went to Kevin Street in Dublin.
Oh, yeah.
I did electronics.
Oh, right. Right. Technician. Yeah.
And I went to see them for a year. And after that, I joined our Legas.
Yeah. What was the name of the boat you were on?
Oh, the Alpira. It was only a small little tramp
Doesn't
ship.
matter. Doesn't matter what. Just the name. Was it Irish, English, or
It
Italian?
was Scottish registered.
Alpira. How would you spell that?
There are three. The Alpira. They were called after 3 lakes in Scotland.
Yeah.
So there must be an Alpera Lake in Scotland.
I never heard of it.
Neither did I.
P-I-R-A, is it?
ALPRA.
P-I-R-A, yeah.
Yeah.
What was it, a weather ship or what was it?
It was a cargo, do you know the
Ah,
cargo?
right. So you were the radio operator?
It was.
Yeah.
I
And
joined, I was on another boat too for a while. We used to carry iron ore
oh, yeah.
to England,
Uh,
to the foundries.
yes.
And, you know,
What
so-
port would you be landing at?
Well, it varied throughout, like North Africa.
Oh, you were bringing from England to North Africa?
No, from North Africa to England.
To England.
Up to Sunderland. And
Oh, yeah.
Smith-
Oh, yeah, where the shipbuilding was going on.
also there, yeah.
Yeah. Lisbon and that, yeah.
That's right.
That, oh, yeah.
And down from Canada, we're banned in Canada.
Oh, yeah.
I went all around with that.
So you spent a couple of years at sea, did you?
I only about a year,
A year.
1 year.
Yeah.
And I didn't join Aer Lingus.
Yeah, same job.
Yeah, I was electronics specialist.
For years.
Worked for the rest of my life up there.
When did you pack in?
I packed in about 10 years ago, just
10 years ago. That'd be 1992
92.
or 93. Right. Ah, yeah. And you're back living here since. Anybody else? Oh, there was. A few
The
after you.
next person was Nancy.
Yeah, I remember her. She
Oh,
came,
yeah.
came over to
They were
Calmore.
all Irish names.
Yeah.
She married a chap called Peter Peterson. He was a Dutchman.
A Dutchman. Yeah. Did she qualify as anything or work in the civil service or?
No, she when she went into the nunnery.
Oh, she joined the nuns.
Yeah.
What branch or what?
They were good players, weren't they?
I don't know.
I think they were.
Oh, they're a tough crowd, aren't
They
they?
were.
Yeah. Yeah, we're talking here about Nancy, the last year. She was
Yeah,
a
yeah.
sister of yours, and she joined the Poor Clares, didn't she?
She did,
In Blackrock.
in Blackrock.
And she left them after a few years, did she?
Well, she was spent a while in America, in the Port Players too.
Did she?
Yeah, she taught over there.
Oh, yeah. Oh, she qualified as an NT in
Oh yeah, in Ireland.
in Ireland,
Yeah.
while she was in the Poor Clares.
That's right.
Yeah. What part of Dublin are they? Is it
Blackrock.
Blackrock. Oh, yeah.
I think I'm going to check now or confirm that it was the Port Players.
Yeah, because they came. There was another gang now.
This was a place just as you went to Blackrock Village.
So it may not be the Poor Clares she was in, might
May
be
not be.
another order, yeah. And she qualified there as an NT, and then she went and taught in America.
That's right.
Was she still in the order?
She was.
Yeah. You don't know what places in America she might have been?
I think it was in San Francisco, Los Angeles,
Oh, yeah.
LA.
Yeah. And then she came back again, did she?
She left them then.
Yeah.
And
In
she came
America?
back- yeah, in America.
Yeah.
She came back to London,
All right.
and sometime later she married this chap, Peter Peterson,
Yes. A Dutchman, you're
a
telling me.
Dutchman,
An engineer.
an engineer.
And settled in Grimsby, England. Is it?
Well, they worked in London for a long time, you know, and then
Yeah.
eventually they went up to Grimsby.
Yeah. And
He was a
then...
refrigeration engineer, and
Oh, right.
that would be the place to go, was up to Grimsby.
Oh, that's right. The boats coming in there.
Boats were in,
Yeah, it was a great fishing port too,
Yeah,
and
yeah,
whatever. They have a big bridge built over it now, a big suspension bridge.
yeah,
the,
yeah.
What do they call it? Oh, I'll think of it later on. My head's going. Now, Donald is the youngest, wasn't he?
That's right.
Yeah. He went to Carramore School after leaving Ballycastle, I think,
He did.
before he finished his time
He
there.
did.
And then Kevin Street College in Dublin,
Kevin Street, and he went he qualified as a
radio officer. Yeah,
and he went to sea, employed by Marconi as a seaborne radio officer.
yeah. Communication equipment.
Communications radar equipment. It's navigation and communications.
All right.
And he spent a few years there. He must have spent about 7 or 10 years.
He wasn't on any boats, no?
He was on boats, all right, but I think they were bigger boats than I had.
I know.
I think he was on some oil carrying boats, you know, tankers.
yeah, yeah. To the Middle East? No?
He was he went quite far out there, to the Middle East, yeah.
Yeah.
To the Middle East.
Yeah. Saudi Arabia probably.
Yeah.
Yeah, back and over.
And then he subsequently joined the Ministry of Aviation in England.
The British Ministry of
British
Aviation.
Ministry of Aviation. And he became a lecturer there.
At Bletchley,
At
you were
Bletchley,
telling-
that's
yeah.
the training centre.
Yeah,
And he only retired just a few years ago.
yeah. What is this Milton Keynes?
Milton Keynes is a relatively new town.
Oh, that was the town he was living in. That's near
Well, it's
Bletchley.
beside Bletchley.
Ah, right.
Bletchley was only a small little village
Right.
when I was there anyway.
Yeah.
And Margaret Thatcher, I think in her era, she decided to set up a new town.
Oh, right.
It's about a mile, 2 miles out from Bletchley.
Yeah. Was that town of Bletchley, was that very important in breaking the German code during the war?
It was. There was also a post office training centre there.
Ah, that's where all the spy
That's
work
right,
was done and where the war
That's
was
right.
won, really.
That's right, that's what they called. But they had a big park there.
Yeah.
Bletchley Park is called.
Yeah.
And within that park you had this post office training centre.
Yeah.
And you had the Ministry of Aviation training centre, or another place there.
Yeah.
So it was quite a big park.
Oh,
Lovely,
right,
lovely
right.
place.
Very important, like going way back, like during the
yeah,
Second
yeah.
World War, like,
True.
yeah. They cracked that code the submarines had, the Enigma, I think they
That's
called
right,
it, wasn't it? Yeah,
Enigma.
yeah.
Yeah, that's where we did our training, in fact, in Bletchley Park.
Was it? Oh, you
Yeah.
were there too, were you?
There was.
Oh,
Before I joined the Ministry of Aviation.
ah, right, right. So he's retired now, isn't he?
He's retired, just a
And
few years.
is he living in Dublin, is he?
No, he's still in Bletchley.
Is he?
They have a house there.
Oh, he still works.
He's a holiday house down in Kilcommon.
He has.
Yeah.
Did he marry an Irish woman or a British woman?
No, he married a Dublin girl.
A Dublin woman.
Yeah.
Maybe I saw her years ago in
Yeah.
Connacht's Hotel.
Lowly.
This is the Burke home here now, isn't it? Your house.
It is.
Yeah. And it was the gatehouse, wasn't it?
It was the gatehouse in the early days.
Yeah, in the early days.
19, about 1931, 31,
You got a job done on it.
when my father built it up.
Yeah, you got the cartons if I held up
Got
doing it
the
over.
cartons to turn it over, yeah.
Yeah. And this was the main gateway, or the main entrance
It
here,
was.
wasn't it?
It was.
Down there.
Down there.
This was for the gentry, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Down to Heathfield House.
Yeah. And the man that was here before your father was James E.
James E.
Munley.
Munley.
Yeah. Did he come from here?
I don't know where his origin was, but he was the gatehouse man here.
Yeah. Was he married and had a wife or kids?
I
or
think he had a house married.
Yeah, yeah. So the house is down there now, isn't it?
The Heathfield House.
That part of the front there, I'd say that was the original living that they had here first, wouldn't it be?
Well, I don't know.
Yeah.
I thought it was the back.
Did you?
They talk about a cottage
Yeah,
being there initially, and many of the
yeah.
that's O'Donovan's
Yeah,
record.
will that be the cottage, the one with the chimneys there, wouldn't it?
Would it be that big?
Ah, it wouldn't be. How many rooms were in that now?
Oh, I don't know. There was one massive kitchen in it. It's the only one I was ever in.
Oh, you weren't in all the rooms?
No.
Well, I see 4 rooms or something down there. Would it be more than that now? Ah, there would.
Well, of course, there would have been upstairs in it.
Yeah, yeah,
No, but they were very big rooms, you say,
yeah,
and a big hall going down to them.
yeah, yeah. Was it like an ordinary house or was it like a castle?
Well,
The house? You
it's
want-
like a castle with that.
I think that was the original building that would be there first for protection, because that's looks like 16th century.
Which one?
The one to the front there,
Yeah.
and the rest.
That was an addition, as far as I know, to put on.
Was it?
Yeah.
Oh, maybe it could be indeed.
I'll get you the document for it now.
Yeah. Ah, we can. And yeah, and you were telling me that there was a tennis court out the front there, wasn't
Yeah, see that raised mound up there,
it? Yeah.
right along out to there.
Right.
That was a lovely tennis court.
Yeah.
And there was some lovely shrubbery there and a
Yeah.
monkey puzzle tree in
Yeah.
front of the house.
Yeah. Is that a drooping willow they have there, or no?
It's an ash,
An
weeping ash,
Yeah, weeping ash.
which is most unusual.
It is, yeah.
That's a very old tree there.
Uh-huh. Yeah, indeed.
And
And this would be the orchard.
rhododendron in the far side of it.
Yeah, this would be the orchard here, was it?
That's the orchard.
Yeah.
I believe that there was gardening there initially with a lower wall,
Oh, indeed.
and they built it up. I don't know,
Yeah.
but it,
Well,
it was quite a project.
that'd be for keeping the
Keeping out from the
the
undesirable
locals.
neighbours and their
No,
animals.
yeah, he has no domain at all, no big wall around all the land he owns
No,
here, no.
no.
Ah, yeah.
But the carts and the carriages, they used to come down along the far wall there, see? First
Yeah.
towards across the footbridge,
Yeah.
just going down there.
Yeah. Yeah.
Up along, at right angle to this wall here, right
Yeah.
up there. Turn in to their place,
Yeah.
into their yard,
At the back.
and go through the yard and come out a big gate there, just where the red truck is there, see?
Yeah, yeah,
Or sorry, the blue truck.
yeah.
And go along there, see? And then see the butt of a wall, just
Yeah.
there. There's a pillar above.
Oh, I see it, yeah.
Yeah, above there.
Yeah.
It'll go out there. There's another bridge across the river there. And you went up there and up the Green Road.
And there was another gatehouse out there.
That's right, there's a bridge up there.
Oh, that was the service entrance.
No, the service entrance was up here. See it straight up here?
Oh, I do.
Yeah. That was O'Hara's, so you can see it.
Oh, yeah, over there.
Yeah. You come across the
Oh,
bridge
yeah.
up there.
Oh, so they had 3 entrances.
Well, no,
coming
the other place was the controller traffic, general traffic coming through.
Yeah.
They had to pass through there
All
for
right.
security reasons
All right.
to their backyard.
Was
And it'd go out there, you know, the Green
this
Road.
could be the old road to Ballycastle.
It could be the old road to
Ah, yeah,
Ballycastle.
yeah. So that was it was coming through here according to the map.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it probably was the old road to Ballycastle when I was young.
Apple trees,
That's,
the orchard.
huh?
They had apple trees, had they?
They had it all in there, pear
Yeah.
trees, apple trees, plums,
Yeah.
all that in there.
All that
And
in
they were so positioned that, you know, the sun will get them and ripen them. And,
All right.
you know.
Right.
It
And the wall was
a work of art.
the wall was for shelter too.
It was.
Yeah, indeed.
But somebody was saying to me, I think it was some time ago now, I don't know how true it was Corricane again.
The house was supposed to be built around 1730. Now, maybe it was built before then. There was Richard Fisher around here in 1641. However, the date is 1730. Oliver Bourke, who married a Rutledge woman from Foxford, was living here in 1746. Captain Walter Bourke, JP, was born here on the 1st of January 1753. He was a son of Oliver. Walter died on the 28th of April, 1827. His wife was Barbara Gildea, and she died on the 2nd of October, 1820. Both of them are buried in the old Kilcommon churchyard. The tomb bears the crest, the mountain cat and chain of the Bourkes. This crest, according to Eamon Bourke, who lived in Castlebar and is now living in Dublin, in his book called Bourke, People and Places, he claims the crest came from Baldwin de Bourke, one of the Crusaders, from about 1095 to 1271. The crest signifies vigilance, liberty and courage. In 1838, Oliver Bourke was here and had the land of Gortatour. In 1856, he was gone. Sir William Roger Palmer, Baronet, had almost 32 acres of Gortatour and a house that cost him £16 yearly in rent, so he must be living in Heathfield House. He must just have been back from the Crimean War after surviving the charge of the Light Brigade, and here he lived for a while in Heathfield House. Mr. Cyril Knox of Palmerstown, in his various stories of interest concerning the Knox family and their connections in Tiroli, North Mayo, together with a few notes of other items around that district and the family at large. That's the title of his history. He puts Roger W.H. Palmer, the last baronet, and having Palmerstown house and land at that time, and was there until 1909. In 1856, Reverend William Bourke, B.A., had most of Gortatour land, but was not living in Heathfield House. He was a curate in Lacken in 1854, curate of Killannon in 1858, and rector of Lacken from the years 1872 to 1880. He probably did not live here for long, but his tombstone states that he came from Heathfield. He was a son of Palmer Bourke. Oliver Merrick was here in 1831. Now, he wasn't a Bourke, because he signed an application for a school that the Pews were looking for in Lissadrone, and he gave his address as Heathfield House. Captain James Bennett was here in 1901. He wasn't a Bourke either. The holder at the time was W.H. Bourke. It is likely Bennett had it rented from There are 3 domestic servants named, so I presume they were in Heathfield House. They were, first one, Mary Foley, a Roman Catholic, aged 45. She could read and write and was from County Wexford. She was a domestic servant. Another one was Margaret Hart. Another one was Margaret Hart, domestic servant, Roman Catholic, could read and write. She was aged 35 and she came from County Sligo. The third one was Ellen Lomax, domestic servant, aged 25. She could read and write. She was a Roman Catholic and she came from County Carlow. Bennett had this house rented from Walter Henry Bourke at the time. Now the Bourkes of Summer Hill House are connected with this place back here. The Bourkes of Summer Hill House moved in here after a tragic accident that occurred when one brother shot the other while playing with an old gun. The surviving brother became Captain Bertram Bourke of Heathfield. He was called to the front in 1915 and was killed a few days after arriving. He was married to Ellen Usher, who stayed in Heathfield House with his daughter. Eileen Usher should be the name. Eileen later married a Captain Newsom. He was also in the war, in the 1914-18 war. They lived on in Heathfield House until the Troubles, or the Irish War of Independence, which went on from around 1919 to 1921. And they had to leave the area that time, or as the tale goes, they were escorted out of the area by the local IRA, Heathfield House.